Let me just do this. Hey guys, hey guys, this is Casey Rollins back again with another episode of Countercast. I am your host, of course, again, Casey Rollins. Oh man. Okay. Well, anyways, um, so this episode, I wasn't originally even planning on taping an episode this week until I realized, well, we've got the break coming up, and we like there's spring break or whatever, and I did have enough episodes taped for next week, but I didn't really feel like taping any episodes during the week, and I can't remember if the break is like a week long or 2 weeks long. So in either case, I'll be ready. I have enough episodes to go out, and at least I'll be able to just like chill and not record anything. Next week and probably the week after, probably. We'll see. Um, I let's see, what else did I want to talk about? One thing I did want to talk about is the message. So if you guys are on Quoto, and this is probably going to be resolved like by the time this episode airs because it's going to be like 2 weeks old. But um, I did change some things with my Quoto account. Apologies for talking about the Fediverse so much, because not everything's about the Fediverse. Fediverse is not about everything. That much is clear. So I've recently changed my account. And I made a post about it, and I'll read the post here. I said, "Update. I'm making my account private for a while. I got a strange DM that kind of weirded me out for a bit, and this seems to me to be the best course of action for now. I will let you guys know when I make my public return, and y'all should still be able to see my boosts. But until then, this is Bravo 6 going dark." And of course, I changed my my little avatar there to a picture of the guy who actually is Bravo 6. I forget his name. Um, and I also made a little banner that has the meme of Bravo 6 saying Bravo 6 going dark. But so here's the story behind this. So I had recently gone and I was like checking notifications, and somebody sent me a message, and it's this guy who is on Quoto who said his name is like mess12811096, and I have like literally no idea like who this person is, like, and he just says hi. That's all he says. And when I go to the person's account, there's literally nothing about this person at all online anywhere. Um, and so I just found it like really weird. Um, I was because when the funny thing about that was is I was like I had recently made a post like before that saying uh what did I say? What had I said? Oh yeah, I said I kind of realized that people doxing being illegal is not going to be enough for people to block to dox me, and then like less than 24 hours after that this happens. So I was kind of weirded out. I was like, well, this is just strange. And then I just like kind of decided to continue going along my day. But then after a while, I was just like, man, something just does not feel right. And I know this, like being a free thinker, um, or at least like not being non-conforming, um, it really has put a target on my back. Understandably, not everybody's gonna like me, but at least I can try to like everybody else. Because even if they don't like me, the least I can do is like them. But anyways, so so that happened, and so I'm just kind of like, well, what if somebody is like trying to like do something weird? Because after all, he did, or the user did go and like message like other alt accounts that I had on the Fediverse, and also said hi and didn't respond when I said like, hey, who the heck are you? So all of that was just kind of weird. So I made all my new posts. I'm making them followers only. I'm making my account private. I'm probably gonna eventually change it back because I really am gonna be accepting all. I am accepting all followers right now. So I'm probably gonna change it back, make the profile like be the old style again. But just for fun, it's kind of how I'm doing it now because it also rewards all the people who actually follow me, how they can see my post now, but everybody else can't. But I'll probably end up bringing it back eventually. I'm gonna like kind of try and actually think about it cognitively today and figure out what I'm gonna do. Probably make a post about my decision and go a little bit more in depth as to why, because I didn't really give a good reason except like, I was creeped out, but I probably should give a better reason than that. Anyway, so we got that, but I did want to talk about like some other things because I was and my intention actually was not to make this a normie episode. I actually kind of wanted to make this a political episode, but when I sat down to record, I was like, you know what? Well, first of all, this show is mostly just like kind of my stream of consciousness and me talking about what I want to talk about. Kind of similar to how my Fediverse account is, but just more with me talking. You know, it's just different. So here's what I did, or here's what I want to talk about. So I want to talk about Nike shoes, and I want to talk about game systems. So for I know it's a lot different than like the usual, except I did make the episode about phones. But first, I kind of want to talk about Nike shoes. So I kind of hold on, let me see here. Let's see. So I kind of have been trying to get back into fashion a little bit because I just feel like it's probably good to kind of like up my game a little bit. So I've been doing that. I haven't been like changing my styles radically, but just kind of just been a little bit more conscious of like what I'm wearing and why, and also like trying to wear clothes that really have like a message and kind of do a bit of demonstrating like who I am. So for instance, like I'm not gonna be walking around in Guess clothes probably. Like first of all, it's way too expensive, and also like what does it mean? Guess what? Ooh, you guessed it. Is that like what it's for? Because if that's not what it's for, then I do not get it. But as of recording this, I have an Amazing World of Gumball hat on, so that I'm a fan of the Amazing World of Gumball. So it's stuff like that, and I kind of been paying attention to like shoes and stuff because a lot of people they talk about their shoes. A lot of people like talk about like their Jordans or whatever. But I'm noticing that the shoes, this shoe is getting a lot of traction. Hold on, let me look it up here so that I'm kind of looking at what I'm talking about as I'm talking to you guys about it. But it's these shoes from Nike because Nike always has like the hype shoes except for Adidas, except for the Adidas Yeezys. But other than that, Nike has all the cool shoes. Balenciagas suck. Don't buy those. So we have Nike and these new Nike shoes called Air Force Ones are like really really popular for some reason. I don't know why. It's been like this I think since last summer. And it's just I don't really get it because they look like I don't know if they look like cool shoes trying to be dad shoes or dad shoes trying to be cool shoes. Excuse me. But they look just so ordinary. Like they're nothing special. Like usually like the hype shoes they're like, "Oh, these shoes are expensive because they're like different." And like what makes these shoes different? Nothing really. Well, actually, hold on. Let me look at this because I was under the impression that these were actually expensive, but they're actually not super expensive. They're actually about $100. So ooh, they got girls ones in gold. But see, the only thing special about these shoes really are just like the colorways. When you take out the colorways, there's nothing at all special about these shoes. And the only reason why they made so many shoes was so many different colorways was because they got so popular originally. And I don't get it because it's a basic shoe, like a basic shoe. Like I'm just looking at it. This just looks like any other shoe that like you can get. And there's another shoe I think looks a bit better, but is not getting any traction at all. And I think they're selling well, but they're just not getting like tons of like traction in like the culture, I guess you would say. It's the Nike Blazers. Now these are about $100, and I actually asked my mom for some for my birthday, so we'll see how that goes. But these shoes look really good because I think they're marketed as like skaters slash basketball shoes. So I'm assuming that they're more. They're also mids, so they're gonna provide a little bit more arch support than my Vans that I'm wearing right now, which I don't need arch support all the time. I don't daily climb mountains, but which should be obvious by my posts. But it is kind of nice to have like something around your ankles, which is why I got these LeBron shoulder fits, which have like a lot of arch support. So I think it'd be kind of cool to have like some mid tops because these are high tops. I think these qualify as I think these qualify as high tops. But mid tops seem pretty cool. So what I just don't get is like what makes the Air Force Ones better than the Blazers? Because the Blazers are just I don't know. The Blazers just look cool. The funny thing about the Nike Air is usually like there's some sort of like fancy thing like style wise of the shape of the shoe which makes it special. Like these LeBron Soldier fits, their name the claim is you got these straps. Hold on, let me bring this up to the mic. You got these straps. You got 5 straps, and you don't even need to tie your shoes. You just need to like put these straps on, and you're set. But then I nothing special about the Nike Air Force Ones. Nothing absolutely special. Now I'm not scorning people who wear them. I'm just like, well, I don't know why you like it. But next thing I want to talk about is game systems because I've been looking at game systems a lot. Kind of thinking about them a little bit, and I grew up playing lots of games on the PS2. Well, not lots of games, but like I grew up playing like NCAA Football 2002 in the PS2, Sean Palmer's Pro Snowboarder, and there were some games that were like PS2 era that I ended up playing with my gamepad for PC. Lego Soccer Mania is like the big one, also NHL 2000. And later on, we did move on to the PS3, which we still have back at home. But I've been thinking because my semester, this semester at least, has been fairly chill. Like it has not been nearly as busy as past semesters. So I've been like, well, I feel like I probably would have time to pick up gaming a little bit. And I've started playing Minecraft with the guys in my hall, but beyond that, like it'd be nice to have like another game to play. And so I've been thinking, well, you know what, I could probably just get like a game system, fairly cheap, and play just a bunch of the old games I used to play. NASCAR '09, junk like that. But then I was looking at PS2s. Actually, let me pull it up here, and I'm thinking, PS2, like you can get one cheap for around $100 or so. But here's the thing: the PS5 and the Xbox Two, I guess, are supposed to be coming out fairly soon. So in these games, aren't these systems supposed to have backwards compatibility? From what I'm hearing, the Xbox will have onboard backwards compatibility. The PlayStation will have partial backwards compatibility. We already know that it's been confirmed for the PS4, but they refuse to confirm whether or not it's going to work for the previous generations. My personal belief is they'll have the onboard technology to do it, but they're not going to be fully implementing it because they're going to be afraid of incompatibilities and and errors with older games where they might not work. Because all the signals that I'm seeing right now, they all say, "Oh, we're working on it," or like, we're testing games right now. Whereas Xbox, it sounds like Xbox has already perfected it, and they're just like, oh, we're just putting our finishing touches on it, adding new features to the backwards compatibility or whatever. So I don't know. Not sure if I want to go with older games or something. Another thing too is that like a lot of games I want to play, that I'd play like Watch Dogs 2 or something. That game is only on the PS4, and PS4s are like $300. I think. Are they $300? They're like, let me look this up. You can get one for 250 actually, and that's like the slim. So that ain't bad for a console. But then again, the thing's about to be deprecated for online play. You need internet. That's like super dumb. It's so like I should not have to pay to play multiplayer online. Now maybe, sorry, I'm cracking my knuckles here. Maybe I'm just a privileged like PC gamer, but it just seems to me that like playing online is an integral part of the game, part of the console. It's like I don't know, making it so that you have to pay extra to have to be able to take videos on your phone. Be like, well, it comes out the box, you can take pictures, but man, you want to take videos? That's where you gotta pay a subscription per month. I don't think it's worth it either because I wouldn't be playing enough for it to be worth it. because I'd only be playing like every once in a while. And I've thought about, why not get a PS2? Why not, well, first of all, PS2 is still $100, which is a considerable amount of money. Um, it's not like something to ignore. Although I will say this, I did research it, and apparently you can put in any hard drive you want. And I actually have like a 1 terabyte hard drive. That's I think it doesn't work unless it's funny. It doesn't. I think it's because of how I formatted it. It doesn't work unless you're using Linux. Then you can see the stuff on there. But when you plug it into like a Windows computer, you can't see anything. So I could theoretically reformat it and just put that in like one of the older PS2s, the bigger ones, and then boom, have like a terabyte of space and not have to worry about memory cards, which would be super cool. Because I remember when we would play on the PS2, like memory cards was like a big thing. So that issue would be resolved. But one thing that I'm thinking about too is, with a PS, are there any like PS3 or PS4 games that I would like need to play? Like here's my thinking. We all know that in general, PS3 and PS4 games are better than PS2 and PS1 games in general. When you think of like the best games, a lot of the older games will show up, but a lot of the newer ones too. A lot of the bigger games, like I would love to be able to play PUBG on a console, but I guess it'd probably be good enough to play on the PC anyways. I'm sorry. And when you consider that like very few games, like probably sports games and adventure games, like open world games, are the only games I'd want to play on a console. Although my friends have been getting me into Halo, and Halo's fun, even on the Xbox, it's still fun. So maybe shooter games wouldn't be so bad with a console. But I just tried using my controller, and mapping out the buttons to Assault Cube just doesn't work out. But maybe it's just because it's not official, and it's just like not the same. And also, I'm better at mouse and keyboard than with a controller. So yeah, there's that. And I've also been looking at like the portables too, because I feel like portables. I think let me look this up to make sure that I'm not like misspeaking. But I think portables are like cheaper. Not talking about like the Switch Lite, but like you can get like all of these DSs and stuff are cheaper than $100. Although I must say I am not really a Nintendo guy. I never really grew up playing Nintendo games. If I wanted a game system, I'd probably want to get like a PSP. But the thing with the PSP is like you don't really save much money in comparison to buying a PS2. And then you also have the question of, well, are PS2 games and PS1 games worse than PSP games? And the answer is probably no. So, I don't know. We have that. Let's see. Anything else that I wanted to touch on? I mean, I did want to let me check and see check my notifications and see if there's anything that anybody wanted to talk to me about. But I actually, while I'm thinking about my notifications, I do know of one thing is that so JoJo, by the way, I think he switched instances, didn't he? Let me check and see here, because I'm trying to go through my notifications, but so many people have been liking my posts lately that it's taking a while. But anyways, I was talking with some people, and JoJo, he like changed his name to, well, he goes by Popco, and or like now his name is Luffy. I don't know why, but he's on Popco now. He's switched over to GameLiberty.club. I think he finally got kicked off of FSC. I'm honestly surprised that it took so long. But now he's back. He's back on Game Liberty Club, trying to tell everybody go to Game Liberty Club, even though unless you're like leaving your instance, like I don't like people who tell like people to instance hop, like, oh, go to this instance, oh, go to that instance. It doesn't really matter what instance you're on, just so long as you can see all the people that you need to see. So if you're gonna leave an instance, I'm like, why? I left Gab because because Alex, no, is that his name? Alex? Andrew Andrew Torba was acting like a pure psycho. So I was like, well, I'm done. If I ever leave, if I ever leave Quoto, it'll be because Fremo doesn't like me. Eventually, decides to act on, calling me a bigot. But in general, I like to get comfy on Instant. Stay for at least like several months. I think for a minute I was on OST Social, but I think so. The OST Social went down. I forget who the admin was. It was like this like very boring. Well, it wasn't boring. It was just completely empty. Somebody made a I think it was Pleroma instance, and then just like ignored it. Just let it just sit there. And he made an account and then like posted nothing, didn't do anything. So I just sat there, and by the way, I had full federation because since it was like a relatively new, completely empty instance, it basically worked like a single user instance. There were no rules stated, so I could just say whatever I wanted, and I was just chilling, federating with everybody. And then I would talk about Gab, and I think eventually people were like, "OST Social is Gab friendly instance," which is funny because like it's not the instance that's friendly to Gab. It's just that like the person made the instance and didn't even like bother to like block anybody or do any moderation. Just let it sit there. But but yeah, that instance got shut down. I think it was because it found out I was using it, going rogue. So then I translated my Quoto account from my SFW account to my main, and that's been fun. So that's kind of, I don't know why I'm talking about my where I've gone and stuff on. Oh yeah, I remember because not everybody needs to switch instances. Hold on, let me grab a Coke here. Not everybody needs to switch instances. And so I don't like people saying, yo, switch to this instance. I'm like, well, this instance to me is the best rules. So if you ever want to move, you know, here's a viable place to move. Hold on. Give me a second. I got these um so across from the college there's this Dollar General, and uh the Dollar General, they have like, glasses and things. And so I finally realized, you know what, I noticed that they have these glasses. Pull this out of here. And they say whiskey on them. And the funny thing is, I don't drink whiskey. I drink soda and water. This is so what I'm gonna do here is, just for fun, I'm gonna like take these ice cubes that I made, and pour my Coke into the glass. Have some fun with that. Let me put this back in. Also, I do need to check on the fridge because it doesn't exactly work properly. It works well enough, but it doesn't exactly work properly. Here we go. There we go. Ice, baby. That was fun. So, um, why did I bring up JoJo? I brought up JoJo because that was such a bizarre sequence. Okay. So why did I bring up JoJo? I brought up JoJo because I wanted to have JoJo on the on an episode, but then he was like, "Oh, I am a true Anon. I will not have my voice in an episode." So I realized that that's fair because that's one really good way to protect your anonymity. But I did ask him if he could write up a statement, that he wants me to read. If you know, he's like, well, I got a message to send to the people, and I think I'm a little bit. I guess he's caused more controversy, so he's more famous. But I think I do have more people following me, so there is that. So I do plan on doing that in the episode because I do feel like not enough people really care like what JoJo's side is, or his perspective on the matter. And I think that since he was the person to kind of spark everything, he kind of like deserves to have his voice be heard. Um, And also, like, it's just kind of like a one-time thing. I never liked people, like, getting taken out for, like, a joke made one time. I actually talked about this in my latest video essay. If you want to go check that out, it's called "The Cost of Cancel Culture." And I turned my transcript into a counterculture article as well. If you want to go read that as well. Um, but to me, I feel like mistakes are mistakes, not like cancelable offenses. Like, there's no need to cancel somebody for making a mistake one time. Now, I know that with JoJo's case, it's a little bit different because you got a legality issue. But here he said, I made this mistake. I'm sorry for making the mistake, and I won't do it again. Basically. So to me, I feel like that should be enough. Because the only mistakes, you should never tell it to somebody. Run around, make a bunch of mistakes, and then say you're sorry. Of course not. But if you're not making any mistakes, you're probably not living enough. Because mistakes are really the best way that like we like as humans learn. Either our mistakes or other people's. I guess you could look at somebody else's life, see them make a bunch of mistakes, see O.J. Simpson get thrown in jail, and be like, "Well, I'm not doing that." But in general, mistakes, things that like apply to our lives, it makes a lot more sense when it comes to mistakes that we've made, because the mistakes that we've made, they come from our lives, they come from our situations, and they're situations that sometimes we're gonna show up in again. So it's important to learn from life experience instead of from somebody else's life experience, because somebody else's situation is not gonna be exactly the same as yours, so you can't necessarily learn from that. Well, you can, but it's not going to be as good as if you learn from yourself. I just realized the other political thing I wanted to talk about, and I mentioned this morning in some of my tweets. So I'm gonna talk about this a little bit. I don't need to talk about it a whole lot, and I'm almost at 30 minutes, which is like the bare minimum, and that's the point of the podcast. Actually, it's not. I don't have a set time I need to talk. The most of these episodes I'm noticing are around 30 to 40 minutes. I feel like it'd be nice if I could get them all to an hour, but I don't. There's no need for them to be an hour if I don't have enough content to fill up the space. But I do want to add like this last thing in this final note. People are wondering, why did Bloomberg go into the debate? So this debate's probably 2 weeks ago, but there was this debate Bloomberg went on, and people were just like trashing him. He did not do well. The person who, from what I heard, at least according to Fox News, because I'm not watching these debates are boring and they're a waste of my time. And also I don't have time to watch them live. But it's like, man, these first of all, these debates are so boring and dumb. Like this one, people watch because they stuck Bloomberg in there, I think. But the other ones nobody cares about. None of the Democrats that I talk to like these candidates. The only candidate that the Democrat voters like is Bernie Sanders. But the party won't let him win because, just like Mark Zuckerberg, they blame him for making Hillary lose. Because, Hillary Clinton was the chosen one. It was her time. Donald Trump, look, Donald Trump claimed to be a Christian or whatever, but he usurped the prophecy. There are the ancient texts that say Hillary Clinton shall be president. Donald Trump ruined it. He ruined it. I'm fine with that. but anyways, yeah. So they're mad, because Trump is president, and so they're gonna blame Bernie. They will never let Bernie win. Also, Bernie's weak and frail. He will not stand up for himself. So of course he won't stand up for the country. Because here's the thing: whenever the Democratic Party sticks their boot on his nose, kicks him, knocks him to the ground, and then takes a baseball bat, sticks a metal pipe in the middle of it, and then just starts like swinging for his gut. Like Bernie Sanders doesn't say stop. He just says, "I'm sorry. I never meant to do you any harm, and you, the people who run the chairmans and the boards, Mr. Perez, I forget your name." This is a bad accent, but anyways, he's just like, "You are the ones who are in charge, so you are going to set the rules. I'm going to have to go with what you say, and that is that. I will not fight. I will not fight because having clear, fair rules are not important. What is important is that we all get behind the candidate." So, of course, Bernie Sanders goes. Of course, Bernie Sanders will not win the nomination, and he will endorse the Democratic nominee. Guarantee you. Boom, case closed. And that's why he doesn't even deserve to be the nominee. His rhetoric is nice and flashy, yeah. But Democrats, stop voting for Bernie Sanders. You're throwing your votes away. Vote for somebody else. Anybody else. Everybody who's Democrat, just vote for your second choice. We all know that all your first choice is like either Bernie Sanders because he's a socialist or Pete Buttigieg because he's gay. But, well, Pete, the party would let Pete win. But the thing is, the black people won't. So you have that going for you. There are too many black Democrats. So that's why I won't. That's that's why Pete will never win the nomination. Yeah. Not saying that there are too many blacks. It's too many Democrats. I'm joking. We need Democrats. We need crazy people on the left to balance things out. This is what I kind of love about the Democratic Party, really. Not the Democratic Party, but our democratic process, is that, the pendulum swings. The pendulum swings every 4 years. No, not 4 years, every 8 years. But you do, in between election cycles, the Congress will swing. So, and you're seeing this now. The Democrats took the Senate in, I think, when was it that they took the Senate? I think they just recently took the Senate, actually, because Democrats won a bunch of seats. Democrats took the Senate in 2020. I think a bunch of the elections might have been in 2019, though. So 2019, Democrats took control of Congress. Well, the Republicans got control of, the House in, when was that? Was that 2012? In the middle of Barack Obama's presidency. And Barack Obama won again. And Donald Trump is more popular. Donald Trump is more popular than Obama was at this point. So it's fair to say that Trump has a really good shot at winning. So yeah, case closed. It's really important to pay attention to the Democrat Party. I actually don't want a Republican to win in 2024. You want to know why? Okay, this is why. It's because here's the problem. When you have one side, one ideology ruling over the people all the time, you know what's going to happen is, imagine if the Democrat Party had control of the government for 30 years. They would have been moderate, and then they would have been liberal, and they would have been hardline progressive. What's going to happen is the country's just going to keep on bending and bending. If the Republicans were to have the presidency, excuse me, for the next 30 years, the country will eventually become a more authoritarian. Will be legislating morality. And don't get me wrong, the Democrats legislate morality too. But here's the thing, it's like tug of war, right? It's like tug of war. When both people are pulling, nobody's falling down. But then when you have an imbalance, that's when the chaos happens. The our democracy is tug of war. It's how it works, and I think I'm actually realizing now it's probably how it was meant to work. And for that, I'm happy. I'm just like, may the best Democrat win. Hope it's not Bernie Sanders. They would probably let Bernie Sanders win in 2024 if he ran again. But I just don't want Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz to run for president until, I don't know, what's 8 years after 2024? Is that 2032? 2032. Let him run. But anyways, I'm going to head out, continuing my break of my break from being recording or whatever. Man, this episode's falling apart. No, I'm kidding. It's not falling apart because I have Coca-Cola. This is orange vanilla, by the way. Orange vanilla. Anyways, thanks guys for listening, and I will probably be back next week unless I'm really lazy, in which case, scold me on the Fediverse, because you can find me at Quoto, that's QOTO.org, or mstdn.social. Or, if I don't respond to that, just leave a comment on one of my YouTube channels, because my YouTube channel is Counterpoints Media, and it's easier to find because it's not an indie site.